let me briefly say this. Islam started in a pluralistic society. During the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were Muslims, there were Jews, there were Christians, there were Meccans who were pagans, idol worshippers. They lived together. Even in Medina, there were Muslims, there were Jews, there were Christians, there were idol worshippers. They coexisted, peacefully. We're talking about a situation where Islam and the Muslims live in a multi-religious society, and there is a central authority. Then it becomes a religious obligation to obey that authority, a religious obligation to obey everything that authority commands, insofar as it is to ensure order, to ensure peace, to ensure, that everyone can. Now, Muslims are not bound to obey laws. For instance, if the government of the country, and I know that will never happen, ban 5 daily prayers, and they say from now on it has become criminal for people to pray 5 times daily. The Muslims are not bound to obey that kind of law. And I'm sure that kind of law will never be made in Nigeria. Or they say, like we read somewhere, that in China, Muslims by law are not supposed to fast. If such laws are made, then we're not obliged to obey such laws. But other than laws that constitute an affront or an abridgment of our rights as a religious group, other laws we are bound to obey. We are not expected to create government within a government. No, we're not expected to do that because that will be an invitation to anarchy. And Islam is against anarchy.
Just wondering though, do Shiites and Sunnis have a common baseline? I mean, there must be certain principles or certain tenets of faith that both groups accept. And so, do they worship together?
Again, I will answer these from a strictly academic point of view. I am not answering it as an explanation of the conflict that is brewing or that has happened in Zaria. It is not a conflict between Shia and Sunni, no. But I need to underline this very, very clearly. Ideologically and doctrinally, there are differences. Just like you say, for instance, Catholicism and Pentecostalism. These are Christian groups. Both of them are Christians. They have doctrinal differences. They have areas that are inclusive. They have areas that are exclusive. So the Shia, the Sunni have different ideological perceptions, certain differences in doctrine, but that is not the basis of the conflict.
Well, the reason I ask this is because a lot of people understand and appreciate Islam as a religion of peace, and so they will be totally, at a loss as to how this could have happened. I mean, yes, they were not violent, and we wonder why the Nigerian army had to visit, this violence on them. They also know that the Islam as a religion also respects authority. So the basis for the quarrel for a lot of people, would just not be clear. And it's very important that our viewers understand, perhaps certain differences between the groups, beg your pardon, the two groups, and also appreciate that this group also appreciates Islam as a religion of peace. I believe that that's also right, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so too. Well, again, I know this is a familiar turf. I insist that I have limitations. I don't want to comment on who is right, who is wrong. And I told you the reason why I'm so limited. I'm a member of the contact group that was formed yesterday by the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. I have my own opinions, but these are private and personal opinions that I don't necessarily have to share with the public. Be that as it may, it is important for us to understand that one thing we owe this country, one thing we owe humanity as a whole, at this point in time, is to keep the peace. Whether as a religious group, whether as an armed force, whether as an ethnic group, whether as an indigenous group, we just need to keep peace. Nothing can happen without peace. And for that peace to take root and flourish, the powers that be must ensure justice. One of the three resolutions that was reached at yesterday's meeting was also calling on government to expedite action on a judicial commission of inquiry, or if it could not be a judicial commission of inquiry, an inquiry into what happened. Let us know exactly what happened, how, why, under what circumstances, did these violence erupt. We have had and seen so many accounts, sometimes mutually contradictory. We need to be reconciled to the truth of the matter. Justice must not just be done, but must be seen to be done. There must be no room for high-handedness or arbitrariness. We live in a regime of rule of law, due diligence, and this must be investigated, established. This is what we need.
So, Imam Ahmad, you have also talked about a reconciliatory panel. Do you think that that can work alongside a government panel? We understand that the Senate and the House of Reps also intend to look into the matter. Do you think they can work side by side, reconciliation, at the same time investigations or inquiry into it?
Yes, let me tell you that our committee, the contact group, is just to try to stop the escalation of violence. The people need to be reassured. Nigerians are tensed at this point in time, and the North, as we have it now, is still groaning under the violence that has been let loose on it by the Boko Haram. We can ill afford another. So we could talk to everyone, and that is what we're set to do, to ensure that we de-escalate tension. And the Senate, the House of Representatives can go on to ensure that, we understood exactly what happened, and that these sort of things will never happen again. Assuming a group of people decide there is no God, or they decide to worship stone, that is their own headache. Nobody should go and execute or kill them or disturb them, for as long as they conduct themselves peacefully. And again, if there is infractions on the law, the courts are there to pronounce judgment on who is guilty and the appropriate punishment. This is the way I believe the committees, can work together. We're addressing different aspects of the conflict, different aspects of the problem.
Imam Abdulrahman Ahmad, Ansar-ud-Deen Missioner Worldwide, thank you for speaking with us this morning.
It's my pleasure.
We'll take a moment here, and Sunrise Daily will return shortly. Stay with us.